Hi guys, what's up, what's down, what's sideways? James here for Chronic Fatigue Syndrome, my friend, my enemy, my constant companion, day 73. Anger issues. So, yeah. I had a talk, so I teach people what I call practical mindfulness, or I share with them what I call practical mindfulness. And really, it's just a series of tools that can help you make more optimal choices in situations where you usually don't make the most optimal choices. It's not counseling, it's not therapy, it's just here's some tips and tricks I've picked up with having an illness and doing martial arts most of my life. And so I package all this together and call it practical mindfulness. And I was talking with someone today, and they had anger issues, and they were in a really good place because they'd already started to identify that they had anger issues. They were not making the most optimal choices. They wanted to start making the most optimal choices that they could. They realized that how they were responding wasn't the best way, and that's a really good place to start with, because if you identify it, then you can move on from there. You can start to build on it. It's when you have an issue and you don't acknowledge that you've got an issue, then it's really hard for improvements to be made, because if there's nothing wrong, why fix something that's not wrong? So practical mindfulness can be applied to, I haven't found an area it can't yet, but this person was asking me, like they were sharing how they were getting angry, they weren't having the best responses to things, and they were wanting to improve. And I'm like, great, already started, you actually want to improve. That's awesome. And so we just started a discussion, and I shared a few things about practical mindfulness, and then how, like, here's the general stuff, and then how we just tweak it to anger issues. So once again, it's not counseling or therapy or a psychologist. Like, those are, always seek trained medical professional for whether it's your mind or your body. Okay? But that doesn't mean that the content won't have any value or impact upon your life. At the end of the conversation, the guy was quite visibly more relaxed, a lot more calmer, and you could tell that he felt better. And then he also verbalized, oh, I feel so much better. It's just, like a big weight's been taken off my mind. It's like, cool, no worries. Now, the reason I share all this is because you see a lot of fear with people with chronic fatigue syndrome. You see a lot of fear, and you also see a lot of anger. And sometimes, the anger becomes because they're afraid, and so they're afraid and they get angry, or you see that kind of play between the two, that fear and that anger. They're afraid and they make choices verbally and physically based off that, and then you also see them getting angry with others, rah 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 rah, which for me, when I listen and watch it, it's kind of like you're afraid. There is anger that doesn't come from fear, like if you're fed up with someone or something, or that kind of thing. But I could most really trace it to, like, the government's not giving me the government's not doing their job trying to help me out. I've got chronic fatigue syndrome. They should do better. Rah, I'm angry. I might trace that back to the fear of not being able to look after ourselves, and not feeling like there's the support there to do normal life functions. So it's that kind of, even though it might not look like it has an origin of fear, there might be something you could trace it back to. Like if you took out that fear element, the anger would dissipate, would go away. Unless they just want to be angry. That's a different thing. So the reason I share that is because there's a lot of us with fear and anger, and me personally, not a lot of people know this, but I grew up very angry. Very angry. Super angry, like, actually I think I may have shared one of these in a previous video. Like, I can feel the anger. I could feel the anger physically coursing through my veins. So I grew up angry. I can't remember I think like from a child, definitely in my teenage years, and then up like even now. If I don't monitor myself, like I could be very quick to internal anger, not outward, not outwardly. Unless you know what to look for, you'd never think I was anything but a very calm, cool, logical. I can be emotive, I can be passionate, but I'm generally very. Oh, I might get excited, but if you put me in a stressful situation, I stay calm. If you put me in a situation where someone's threatening me, I stay calm. You know, you wouldn't. The other person wouldn't know that they're dealing with someone whose anger is kind of like volcanic, about to go off. But you know, it's firmly under lock and key. But if it was to go off, like, they would find that instead of dealing with a quiet person, it would be more than what they were expecting, more than certainly what they're giving out at the time. So, from a personal aspect, I'm very aware and have a lot of personal experience with that constant feeling of anger. And sometimes it's not even like, you might not even be able to trace it to anything. You just might be like so angry, like in your dreams you're angry, you know, that kind of thing. So a lot of anger there as well. And the thing about what people don't know or forget or are unaware of is that when you're calm, being calm doesn't mean you don't have any feelings. Responding calmly to a situation doesn't mean that you aren't experiencing a plethora of turbulent emotions at the time. People have this idea that we'll do bravery. That bravery is the absence of fear, you know. Whereas bravery is more like bravery is taking action whilst feeling fear, that kind of thing. So it's not an absence of something that creates the bravery, or an absence of something that creates the calmness necessarily. Like there is an absence of something for the calmness, but it's not necessarily anger. So if you're upset, angry, sad, miserable, blah blah, you can still be calm. You can still respond calmly. You can still acknowledge the fact that you're upset. You can still acknowledge the fact that things aren't going as you'd like them to go, but that doesn't mean that you can't respond calmly. And this is the big thing. People think that, oh, I'm calm and this is like, I don't feel this. No, I have deep reservoirs of anger stored up from, you know, a lifetime of not being well, and, you know, like, why me, and I don't want to be like this in the world, rah, rah. So I've got that, but I don't act upon it. So it's not someone else's fault that I'm like that. I won't go and like, oh, I'm so rah, I'm having a bad day, rah, we're going to take it on you. It does adversely affect your health too. And that's for another video. There was a long time it was adversely affecting like a really long time it was adversely affecting my health. It wasn't until I learned to direct it somewhat that it stopped having an adverse or a really potent adverse effect on my health. People don't realize how much being angry takes it out of you. It wears you out. And then some people actually choose that as their active state because that's how they feel alive. But they're, like, especially if you've got chronic fatigue syndrome, it might make you feel alive, but you're just going to burn yourself. You're just going to wear yourself down so fast. There's no value, long-term value in it. And I have mentioned that in other videos. But I just wanted to share that the fear and the anger and the sadness and all that, like, yeah, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that, and some days are going to be worse than others. And that some days worse than others is indescribable, where you really go, why? What is the point? Okay. Um, but at the same time, you don't necessarily have to respond in the same way. So if you feel angry, you don't have to respond angry. If you feel upset, you don't have to respond upset. Being calm is learning to direct yourself whilst this turbulence is going on inside of you. So yes, I'm a calm person. I'm a patient person. I'm a thinking person. But that doesn't mean that inside, 5 out of 10 times, there's not this turbulence that's going on. You know, I've got butterflies in my stomach. I just want to direct them to fly in a certain formation. I've still got butterflies in my stomach. Am I nervous? Yeah, nervous and excitement are pretty much the same feeling. I just, like, I'm excited, or, you know, that kind of thing. So it's okay to feel those things, but just know that you don't have to have them as you don't have to respond in kind. So if you feel angry, being calm isn't the absence of anger, it's the absence of responding angrily. You know, you can still, like, I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I could smack a soggy lettuce leaf over your head right now. But I don't have to respond angrily. I can be calm and still pick the best way out. Okay, so I just want to share that. It's okay if you're feeling angry, upset, afraid, rah, rah. But being calm still, by learning to direct those feelings and by learning to stay calm, you can reduce the adverse effect on you physically and mentally, and you can reduce the adverse effect on the external life. So, you know, your interactions with other people. Okay? If you have any questions, please feel free to fire away. Like, share, subscribe, hit the little notification button, and thank you very much for letting me share with you day 73.